Making some finalization to that PCV catch box. I welded a bung down here. Welds came out okay. Everything's sealed. It was just a little tough because it got a bit dirty with there being oil on the inside. I guess it was being pulled up. I got this 1-inch barb welded on. It's kind of hard to see them, but I don't know. They came out average. They don't leak. And then obviously we capped everything off. This is just some 1-inch Gorilla hose. I need to come up with a solution to mount the catch box to this plate. I used to use like these sticky Velcro strips, but I don't think they really stick that well with the heat. So what I'm thinking about doing is pulling this plate out I made and just maybe drilling a hole in the center and then just putting a bolt, you know, through. We'll drill like a hole through here, put a bolt there, and just bolt this to the plate, and obviously we'll put a bunch of sealant on it so nothing can leak. So I don't know, I'm messing around with a couple ideas on that, and I want to get that done so that we can finish up this PCV box, because this project has been dragging on. This PCV and cop harness, just mail delays, blah blah blah. Let's keep going. Here's this plate I'm talking about. I made this like 5 years ago, but all it does is reuse the factory airbox tray, and it's perfect for like putting stuff on. And you can see it goes under here a bit too, so it can't like really come out, and these hold them pretty well. But anyway, I marked a hole there and a hole there. I'm gonna drill that, make sure everything lines up, clean this plate up a bit, and then we can go ahead and put all those bolts in, tighten everything down, and be done with this catch can. So basically what I did is I drilled 2 holes here. I can put the bolts in from those where the filters go. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blue thread lock those in and really torque them down so they can't get out and so they seal. And then basically that plate will go on this, and then I got these 2 little nuts and we're just gonna screw them on. So basically we're kind of making a stud in a sense, but without, you know, welding anything on. I just don't feel like, I probably could have bought like little aluminum bungs with threads and blah blah blah, but I'm not gonna go that crazy. I wanna get this done. The welding's fun, but I really gotta just use it when I actually need it. So gonna get the holes drilled in that plate, everything thread locked and bolted up, and we're on our way. Pulling out my cop harness. When I redid the harness this summer, I was like, oh, let's put the cop harness in the main harness, thinking I wasn't gonna have any issues with some of the connections, but this is junk. It uses like an old RN harness that I hacked up. We're doing a whole new harness from scratch. Anyway, you gotta take the whole ECU box out, all that junk, and then you can get this little plastic cover off, and I just have it in the little zip ties that go all along the run of the sheathing. So there's a couple zip ties I need to remove. I can pull this whole harness out. We can put the intake manifold back on temporarily with the cop pack and just start getting an idea how we want to run some of these wires. We need 5 signals, 5 power grounds, 5 sensor grounds, 5 cylinder head grounds, and 5 feeds. This engine, obviously, since this is full sequential, 2 coils are never going to be charging at once, so we can get away with running just the maximum amount of gauge required for each coil, which is about between 14 and 16, which should be good for 7 to 10 amps of current at 12 to 14 volts. So I'm going to get that harness out, get it laid out, and maybe start putting together some of my cop harness, because there's not much more I can do in the PCV since I'm waiting on a couple more fittings. Working on redoing my cop harness a little bit, and you can see got this double crimped. It's our MetroPack 150.2. Focus, please focus. There we go. See, it's double crimped. Use the MetroPack 150.2 crimper, and then basically you got to pull these through, and you got to push these through before you crimp them. I made the mistake of doing that before. Anyway, I'm going to pull these through, make sure everything still plugs in, and then once we run all the signals, we should have a pretty good idea what we need to do with power and ground. So let's get to it. I want to get this harness done. I really should have done this in the summer. Getting that new cop harness worked on a bit. I upgraded to 14 gauge power and ground. Look at the difference between that. It's about the biggest I could fit in this this puppy. Anyway, we got real nice big power and ground. The power and ground over here is about 12 or 14 gauge too, so no problem. I'm just waiting on a new connector for this. But I'm just zip tying things a little bit, keep the wires together. It's kind of how I want to run it. Gonna work a little bit more over here and get some of the sheeting cleaned up and get everything all equalized and aligned. and hopefully get this done, because I want to get driving this car and really need to replace this cop harness. It was causing all kinds of drivability issues with, you know, old crimps and old solders coming loose. Anyway, let's keep working on this and hopefully get it finalized soon. More progress on the harness. Again, like I said, I ran all individual powers and grounds. Some people like to crimp them as they go down, have like one big feed and crimp off all of them. But honestly, I don't know, these crimps are just okay. These, I forget what these are called. I don't know the exact name of them. Pinch or lug crimps or something. Anyway, there's no way I could use those to crimp this together. So I just went to Lowe's and just bought these, what are these called? These are called a splicer reducer. And basically it's meant for taking a whole bunch of little cables and making it to one big cable. And that's what we're gonna be doing. Now again, like I mentioned earlier, only one coil is ever gonna be charging at a time. So the wire coming out of here can be 14 gauge, and that's probably what it's gonna be. Again, I just like buying these because you can put these big, you know, bunch of connections together into one. Over here we got, this is the cylinder head ground. I didn't really show, but I did something like this. This has one of those splices over there, under there, that connects all these together into one wire. This is the signal ground. This is the cylinder head ground. Again, these are just small signal and cylinder head ground, so they don't need to be big gauge. Power ground, power, and then we have all 5 of our signals. Pretty happy with how this is coming out. You can see the old one over here. Definitely a lot cleaner than that old one. Waiting on a couple new connectors for that 4-pin EV1 style connector. Let's keep chugging along. To show you a really cool trick that I figured out. If you order 274261, this is for an S70. It's for like a headlight relocation something. I don't know. Anyway, the point is you have these male, or I'm sorry, not the male, or yeah, the male, this is the male side, well, male pin at least. You get 2 of these sides, and you can't find this, this like male side anywhere. You can only find the female side. But anyway, this is going to allow us to have a brand new connector for going right into where the original coil went. All those pins line up and everything. The only 2 you need are this ground and that power. Now you can see that ground's nice and big, but that power is too small. So I did order some new connectors, and I'll re-crimp them and everything. But yeah, we'll put bigger power in there. I'm just gonna chop this in half for now and just run this small power and ground, because I'm still waiting on these little connectors to come. And I wanna just get this harness done and get the car driving soon. So let's chop one of these up and get it installed. All right, it's pretty much ready to go in. You can see we got all of our signal and sensor ground terminated over here. That's gonna run with the main harness. We got obviously all our cop plugs. We got our cylinder head ground, which I still gotta put a crimp on. And then I finished up the power, taped all this up. Again, I need to come up with a better solution for this, because you can see, so actually that blue is the power. So you can see we got a fairly decent sized ground in this, but that blue is a little bit too small. So like I said, I'm waiting on new pins for this so we can re-crimp that. And I do want to show that on the car side, it is very big gauge. It looks like it's definitely at least 14. You can see that blue and red and that black. So it's plenty big on the car side. It's just, since this little connector harness that I'm stealing this connector from was meant for headlights, obviously it's not meant for as much current. But that 14 AWD, once we put that in, that'll be able to handle 15 amps for every coil, since only one's firing at a time. Enough with this cop harness. Let's get this in and get on to other things. Got it all wired up over here. Did a continuity test. I actually ran signal ground, another pin here, and then I did some crimping under there to join up some of the sensor grounds. But anyway, I just did a continuity test on all the cylinders, all the signal grounds, all the powers, all the power grounds, and I just need to check the cylinder head ground. And I also put the plastic sheathing back on and all of these zip ties. I just got to button up some stuff over here. I also ran a new wire from the automatic transmission. This is actually the Sport Econ switch. So this wire will be grounded when I flip the Sport from Econ to Sport. and I want this for the rolling anti-lag. I also got this blue wire, which is for the fuel pump. I need to run that through here, and I also want to start running a clutch switch input. So I'm gonna keep doing some wiring, but I got a majority of the wiring cleaned up over here. This is a mess. This took a lot longer than I wanted it to, but it came out really awesome, and I'm really happy with the job I did on it. Anyway, almost done. All right, I got everything wired up. I'm gonna do a static test of the coils. I got my gun hooked up, and this should make it real easy. So I'll let you guys do the same. Good on 1, and we should go to 2, which is B. Good to me. Now we're gonna go 1, 2, we're gonna go to 4, because we gotta do it in the firing order. So C is 4. Looks good to me. Okay, now we're gonna go to D, which is 5. We got 1, 2, 4, 5, and then 3. So we should have D, which we got. And last but not least, E. Uh-oh. Who's spark? Oh, I went to 4, not 3. 3. Start. Oh yeah, we got spark, baby. We got spark, we got power, we got it on all the right cylinders in the firing order. This cop harness is done. Let's get this freaking intake manifold on already. Got that old intake manifold on, everything torqued down. Got the equalization hose through the manifold. Starting to convert a lot of stuff to pinch clamps. Or Oiketer clamps, Oiketer pinch. I guess Oiketer is the brand, pinch is the type. And yeah, we got this all in. If you can kind of see in there, you can see those bolts. So this is bolted to that plate. It's all, sealed and everything. We got our 1-inch bung here. This is barbed, so I might put a clamp on it, I might not. Probably will. And then I got to tighten up all of those caps. Intake manifolds torqued. Just clean up this, and this thing should be running soon. Can't wait. Fixing up the fuel rail a little bit. Before I had this this fitting on it, it went like this, and it was just way too long and bulky, and I didn't need this Schrader valve. I never used it. I didn't want it to become a leak point or anything, so I removed it. And then I basically drilled and tapped this for 3/8 MPT, which is the same over here. And then we have that. You can see it's a little crooked, whoopsie whoopsie. And then you have these awesome Fragola fittings. I forget the part number on these. But these allow you to do like a cap to a sensor, like 1/8 MPT. So I'm gonna screw that on there, take that sensor out of there, put it in there, and simplify up this whole thing and make it fit better and not have to worry about this Schrader valve. And also this was leaking a little bit, and yeah, I don't want to mess with fuel leaking, so let's get that done. I'm still trying to hunt down this freaking leak. This is after a week, this little puddle right here. Don't worry about that, I just spilled some angle gear fluid. But it has to be the oil cooler. I mean, this is where it's leaking from. It's dripping from here. And there's always fluid on the bottom of there. There's no fluid on the sides. Not really. There's really no fluid on this side. This has to be broken, but this is brand new. I just bought this last year. But I don't know. I mean, there's like a little bit of a drip right there on that AN fitting, but it's oil, not coolant. I mean, there's no more coolant dripping over here. I think one of these hoses is leaking, but it's very, very intermittent. So I think there's 2 coolant leaks. The one here, and I think this frickin' heat exchanger is leaking. I cannot for the life of me figure this out. So I guess we're just gonna have to just frickin' replace this. I mean, I already replaced this. I just replaced this, but whatever. I don't know. We'll figure this out, but I can't stand leaks. Working on the angle gear. We're gonna be doing a modified feed. You can see I got some steel fittings. That's an M6x1 with an O-ring to 1/8 MPT, to 1/8 MPT to 4AN, all steel. No aluminum. I can't do aluminum fittings, especially ones this small, because look, you can't torque that thing to get that washer to crush. No way, they just snap right away. So I got some steel stuff, steel into aluminum, no problem. We're getting it up to torque. Obviously I'll only be able to torque it a few times, but I only need to torque that once and it's in there. And I'm gonna blue thread lock it in there too, because I'm sick of this stuff coming loose. It's just coming loose because it's hard to tighten, because you know, you try tightening this and then this starts spinning and blah, blah, blah. Oh no, don't start leaking on me. Anyway, we gotta fix this. This lubrication system's pissing me off, but we need it. Well, I mean, I think we need it. I think it's really only needed for highway use, but I don't know, let's just get this done. Enough talking.